Purchase an eligible new 30 to 450 horsepower Yamaha outboard and get up to 7 years of coverage protection, plus up to $500 in dealer credit, or earn up to $700 in dealer credit on eligible 2.5 to 25 horsepower models. Fall into savings today.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. It's that time again. We're coming to you early this week, Wednesday, November 26th, the holiday week, of course. Thanksgiving is Thursday, November 27th, and Black Friday. Time for shopping? No, it's a time for fishing. Indeed, here at the Jersey Shore. I'm Jim Hutchinson with a New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine, making my annual Thanksgiving visit to Charlie's Bait and Tackle in Normandy Beach for the Surf Turkey tournament this weekend. And if you're looking to get yourself into some plugs, you've got them all here. And if you're stumbling into Happy Baits this week, those Happy Little Bunker, you're going to need those Happy Glide Baits as well from Scotty Hoffman's, his crazy workshop. So yeah, the Surf Turkey is going on. As I mentioned in last week's video, you only had until 5 p.m. Tuesday, which would have been yesterday, to sign up for the Surf Turkey, which Petey is telling me now there's going to be over $2,000 for a grand prize. So obviously people are gearing up for this week's Turkey Day event, the 14th annual Surf Turkey tournament with $2,000 or more for this catch and release surf tournament that runs through Saturday. It's not the only one, of course. I would imagine it's going to be pretty busy here at Charlie's Bait and Tackle and all the other shops here along the tournament line. Here on this, what Nick Konicheski always calls a barrier island. We always argue about that because it hasn't been a barrier island since Cranberry Inlet existed. But, you know, if you want to count the canal, we'll do that. Because keep in mind, you also have that 15th annual Ponytail Mike Malik and Tom Grumpy Hansen Memorial Striped Bass Tournament. That's the one that's being brought to you by Berkeley Striper Club. That is going on all this week as well. You can find details at berkeleystriperclub.org. And it's not just the tournaments that keep this particular stretch busy this Thanksgiving week. It's the historic bite. Let's go back in history, if not this far. We could go that far, but we're not going to go that far back. We're going to go back to the Thanksgiving week, Thanksgiving Day of 2016. The 10-hour blitz, best represented by this iconic image from Angry Fish Gallery's Tom Lynch on the beaches while eating a Wawa turkey sandwich and not going anywhere but here. People did not leave that stretch from Island Beach to Point Pleasant that particular Thanksgiving when Menhaden were being just crushed along the beach, all along the surf zone. And of course, if you received our e-news alert on Tuesday with the fishing reports, yeah, we're doing the fishing reports at thefisherman.com all season long, all winter long as the shops are open. But you might have seen the article from Dr. Adam Aguiar commemorating the Thanksgiving Blitz of 2022. As per the good doctor, thousands of peanuts were beaching themselves in an attempt to escape the trough, the doom, the gloom, the stripers that were right there. I know Tom Lynch was in on that one and several other folks, and Adam enjoyed a Thanksgiving lunch, I believe, because he didn't leave that bite. Pinned by stripers from outside, pressured by gulls above as soon as any plug hit the water. And any plug, he said, it was hooked up and only intensified as the sky turned dusk orange and the sun set. And Adam never arrived for his Thanksgiving dinner, which is why he plans his Thanksgiving lunch instead. Of course, every year is different, and the 2025 season is evidence of that. By all accounts, I'm not going to lie, it's been slow. Not at all what we've grown accustomed to. I was telling Peter before, I almost feel like I'm a little bit spoiled at this point because of the last dozen or so years of the bite that continues October into November. We were talking about the story, I remember a couple of years ago in early November up in Sandy Hook where guys were enjoying that blitz all morning long, left the fish biting because they just wanted a slice of pizza, and then when they came back after lunch, the bass were still blitzing. But my own fear of missing out, my own FOMO, of course, will not allow me to see the glass as anything other than half full. With Thanksgiving weekend ahead of us and some time to fish and some friends to fish with, I still imagine there's going to be some fish caught all up and down the range. And I'm not saying just between that Barnegat and Manasquan stretch either. That's certainly good above Manasquan too, any place it could possibly happen. But growing up on Long Beach Island where I lived, it was always Thanksgiving weekend on the beaches of LBI from Barnegat to Beach Haven. So it could happen anywhere. And even though we're not getting one of these sustained bites with the adult bunker or the peanut bunker, they're mini roving blitzes. So you got to be in the right place at the right time. And who knows where the right place and the right time is going to be this week. And if you're on LBI, this time of year in the past, historically, has all been sand deals. In the past, it was avid jigs and teasers. You can get your avid jigs here and every other tackle shop along the Jersey coast. Or you could be throwing those tsunami sand deals. But again, make sure you're packing a bag with the teasers as well, because we really don't know what they're going to be turned on to in the coming days. But FOMO, be there. Don't miss out on this. I did get a really nice note from Bill Tyson the other day, fishing in North Beach Haven on the beach, south end of LBI, of course. He caught this 31-incher on the nose. It weighed in at 13.5 pounds, a slot, about the heaviest slot you're going to find at 13.5 pounds, which is why Bill is now in the lead for this particular stretch in the LBI Surf Fishing Classic in that slot category. There's some really impressive catch and release fish being caught along that stretch as well. A lot of night bite fish, but if you take a look at the LBI Surf Fishing Classic Facebook page this week, there's a pretty significant fish that was caught by day last week as well. And I'm not going to lie, Black Friday, this Friday, historically is my harvest day. After the Thanksgiving dinner that can't be beat on Thursday, I want to go out and get myself one of those slot stripers on Friday. Bring it home for the table, and I may have to travel a bit. So I'm in this particular stretch of Ocean County. It could be driving into Monmouth County. It could be following down into Southern Ocean County as well. Who knows? Maybe I'm heading down into Atlantic County and Cape May County. I was in Cape May last weekend. I didn't see anything along the beaches, but there are stripers, and as I've been saying all season long, I do think that they're spread out a little bit more than in years past. So you're apt to find them just about anywhere. It was at the top of Monmouth County on Friday where Kat Greenswag found some fish, Fisherman's Beach and Sandy Hook, in west-northwest or west-southwest winds on Friday. She geared up the tackle box, prepared for any and all conditions with plugs and also bunker chunks. The Kat reported back to me over the weekend. She said fish were sluggish and scattered, slow retrieve, coming through the breaks with the SP Minnow bone color worked best. Whatever works. Adapt, improvise, and overcome. Hey, by the way, I spoke to Greg Hewitt of the Big Mohawk this week. His reports and that of 65 or 70 other captains and tackle shops you'll find at thefisherman.com. Go to the report section. Like I said, every Monday we're posting new reports. But Greg told me with the fish marks like this just off the beach last week, or this week, I'm sorry, this is this week. That screen grab from the helm of the Big Mohawk, that's this week. And they're going to continue to fish for stripers into the second week of December before switching over to blackfish, which will carry them over into 2026. Mea culpa, Greg, we actually got you misquoted in the December edition, who said, yeah, I'm pulling the plug the second week of December. Pulling the plug on stripers and then moving on to blackfish. So we have that Big Mohawk and so many other head boats at the Jersey Shore. Keep rocking and rolling all season long. It's just a matter of finding out which the boats are fishing for. Some of them are going for black sea bass and porgies. Others are doing some work on the tog. And then also you have those striped bass inside the line as well. A lot of boats are out there. The fleet out of Belmar, Manasquan, Barnegat, like I said, targeting stripers, sometimes black sea bass, sometimes porgies. Some of the boats tog. We've got tog and black sea bass through the end of the year. So wherever you want to go, make sure you pick up that December edition of the Fisherman magazine. Find out what boats are sailing where and for what. Years past, excuse me, I would tell you that my wife's family always celebrated Thanksgiving in Atlantic City, and I always tagged along to fish the beaches down there, out along the jetty at Absecon. We're still getting some really solid reports on both sides of Absecon Inlet, both from Riptide Bait and Tackle on the Brigantine side, as well as from Noel at One Stop Bait and Tackle in Atlantic City. Stripers, of course, are moving around as well. In fact, out back behind Ocean City, Captain Dave Scholl, Absecon Bay sportsman. He's been mostly in the back bay, but sometimes getting out front with some of the live spot as well. But he's using live spot in the back, some significant stripers being caught back there. A lot of fish in the slot, some schoolies as well. Again, he's using live spot and also using sometimes the Berkeley gulp. He loves the gulp when it comes to bass fishing. I mentioned my wife, she and I went away this past weekend. If you're down there in that particular area, You want to settle up with a spouse later on, take her to all the shops at Smithville. It's a great little shopping experience, and finish it off with lunch or dinner at the Oyster Creek restaurant. Fantastic. Out of Greenbank, the crew at Jersey Devil Marina said some of their customers were able to fish the ocean last week, found larger stripers inside the line, inside the 3-mile line, up to 42 inches on tsunami swim shads, some on top water, others on the troll. I know some folks are out there trolling some of those umbrella rigs as well at this point, because there are so many sand eels off the beach. That's what the stripers and bluefin are feeding on. But for the most part, anglers in Cape May County at this point are still waiting for their shot at this migratory run of stripers. And I would tell the folks in Cape May County, a lot of folks in Ocean County are as well. The folks at Pier 47 Marina in Wildwood reported that live eels and swim shads have taken some fish from behind the wildwoods to 38 inches. But the ocean front has really not seen that big push, that migratory run of stripers. Instead, a lot of anglers are filling the gap in between with some incredible sea bass and tog action. Sea bass, by the way, are stacked up on most local wrecks and reefs, but for limits of keepers, anglers are heading offshore to the 110-foot depths or so, maybe even more by the time you see this. Tog, on the other hand, still on those near-shore wrecks and reefs, plus still being caught in the back bays and from the jetties. Excuse me. Yes, I'm still shaking off my cold. Speaking of tog, how about this one? Ray Carrico from Grumpy's with a monster that was caught recently on a Inspiration Charters bite. So there's some jumbo blackfish out there as well. If you're in the Fisherman Magazine's Dreamboat Fishing Challenge, don't forget that. One thing I am hearing a lot about, I alluded to it before, the sheer numbers of striped bass in the forbidden zone. A lot of folks coming in from tog fishing, or maybe out doing some catch and release bluefin. They are finding those stripers and bluefin mixed together anywhere from 5 to 10 to even 15 miles out. Plenty of these bluefin on the surface. Speaking of which, the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, ICAT, they've been meeting in Spain. I heard that there was a slight increase. The meetings wrapped up on Monday. So we will be seeing an additional 191,000 metric tons of bluefin in the Western Atlantic quota coming up next year. It's roughly a 17% increase. It sounds good. It's really not nothing but a drop in the bucket. It is something. So again, glass half full. I go into the new season saying, yeah, we're going to have some more bluefin next year. But those grimy Brits, the folks from the UK, would not release any more tuna for us. And exactly, Boo is right. It's time for another tea party. We'll take a look at the upcoming holiday weather forecast, but first on this week's Open Boat with Jenni, we're going to hop in the four-wheel drive buggy with Shell Caris for a discussion about the tides of fishing and how they're ever-changing, and how an angler must have patience and learn to, as I said, overcome, improvise, and adapt.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's Open Boat. I'm your host, Jenni Ackerman, and we're on the beach. We just got done fishing, and I'm sticking my thumb out hitchhiking because we have a very special guest on this week's episode that we're going to interview based off of the fall run season and all his years of experience. So let's catch a ride.
I started fishing back in 1969. So it's 69 years I've been doing it, and I caught a 28.5-pound striped bass when I was 10 years old. And I always tell everybody I was hooked for life after that fish. And every season it changes. In 1964, I went to Monmouth College, now it's Monmouth University, and I started fishing the fall seasons back then. Prior to that, I was in high school and I lived in Newark, and you know, I couldn't fish the falls because I was back in school. So that's where my fall season started. And every year it's different. The last few seasons we've had tremendous runs of bunker, and we're hoping that that will happen this year. So far it's been a couple of days of it, but we're all, you know, optimistic, and hopefully it's going to change. Going back in time, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, we had tremendous runs of sand eels, which we're not really seeing today. There's, you know, isolated cases of it, but prior years that was the main bait. And then in the 90s, late 90s, and then naturally in the 2000 range, we had tremendous runs of adult bunker in the spring and fall. And the fish today, I'm calling them the last of the Mohegans. These fish are 50-pound range, 45-pound range, which back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, if you got a 30-pounder, you were a hero, and that was your personal best for years. A 40 or 50 was like isolated cases. You hear of 1 or 2 a year in the 50-pound range, but now it's common. And we're hoping that, you know, the bunkers will resurge again, but this past season, the netters got a lot of the bunkers, and a lot of the guys are complaining about that. And hopefully we'll have a run of peanuts again. It's still early. It's only the 13th of November. Last year it kicked in around a little bit before Thanksgiving, and we're hoping that it repeats. But it's not an exact science, Jen. Unfortunately, if it was, they'd be all gone. For someone starting out, I would say a 9-foot or a 10-foot surf rod. You know, a decent reel. Braided line, not mono line, and then an assortment of lures depending on what bait fish is around. If there's sand eels around, you're going to want sand eel imitations. If there's the smaller bunker, you're going to want to match the hatch with those profiles. So, and I'm a big fan of white. If I'm using lures, I like the white lures and white shads, white bucktails. It shows up better in the water column. You know, you want to read the beach, you want to look for bird play, structure, sandbars. Usually these are areas where the bait fish could get trapped. And that's basically, you know, it's common sense.
Introducing the YakAttack Sandrig Surf Cart, the ultimate beach hauler for serious anglers. Glide effortlessly over soft sand with wide balloon wheels and lightweight, corrosion-resistant construction that's completely customizable with options. Whether it's rods, coolers, or tackle, haul it all with ease. Built by surf fishermen and engineered by YakAttack.
So the good news from where I sit is there is plenty of west in the forecast for this coming weekend. Most Thanksgivings I'd be giddy, just absolutely giddy about pointing out the fact that the west winds are there and the bunker nosing up against the wind, and we're going to have all these blitz conditions. But honestly, it's been a grind so far this season. And again, FOMO. It's the only thing that keeps me sane at this point. So we do have a lot of west in the forecast. Some of it's stiff, but boy, conditions sure do look good heading into this weekend, especially along this Ocean County stretch, which historically, when the west is blowing, those bunker nosing up against the wind, Pete and the crew here, Philly Billy at Charlie's Bait and Tackle, they're registering some big fish for the surf turkey. You know full well about the edge of the fleet, the hidden line there at Barnegat Light. This is a shot from Harvey Cedars looking to the north, and you can see the fleet. They don't want to come across that line. Well, don't be afraid to break away. Don't be afraid of breaking away from the crowd, of not following the fleet, of not following the buggies along the beach. Robbie Fugi said he had an epic day throwing a spook on Saturday. But as he's heading out of Barnegat Inlet, he opted to turn right. And boy, was he rewarded. Absolutely bonkers, he told me. Only a handful of boats and everyone was into big bass, definitely learning that the fleet isn't always on the fish. Words to live by. Should bode well for those of you enjoying the Thanksgiving weekend below Barnegat, down into Beach Haven, Brigantine, Atlantic City, all the way down into Cape May. Did see this post from Andy at Riptide Bait and Tackle Tuesday morning. Sand eels in the Brigantine surf leads Andy to say that things could get exciting to the south. Maybe it's time that we all break away from the crowds. A lot of folks are talking about beach driving this week, buggy permits, and government mismanagement through slapdash lotteries, which I would tell you are probably illegal. More on that in just a few, but if you want to see some beautiful pure strain stripers in a freshwater environment, we're going to check in with my friend George Schauer, do a little Beltsville fishing for striped bass with the Pocono Outdoors guys.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, chilly morning for sure out here, trying to get a hold of some of the last days of open water fishing before hard water season sets in. Of course, you know, the guys like the trout fishermen, they're out in full force right now. A couple of guys getting some great brown trout, like my friend Eric Goodstall, back here in the Poconos, picking up a few of the really nice browns. For me and Josh out back here, we're out there trying to get a hold of some of these stripers and smallmouth in this cold water. Water's only like 49 degrees, but we did have some success today. I'm gonna show you a few clips of that right now.
so I'm charging at the boat. Hooked up, oh yeah, hooked up on a nice small, it just jumped. Hit our deep running rod right along this weed line here. Kind of drops off from about 12 feet with some weeds down to the main channel. He was cruising right along it here. Not a bad fish at all. Got him. Let's take a peek. Kind of classic Beltsville smallmouth right here. Nice chunky one. Look at the girth on that one. Nice fish. All right, there it is. Tall, girthy fish. Probably 16 inches long, something like that, maybe 17. Back it goes. Back to it.
Oh, hey guys, we got one on here, I think. Not real big, maybe a smallmouth. I don't think it's a striper, but let's see what we can come up with. Oh yeah, I think it's I don't know what that is. Just try to jump. But he's coming up pretty quick. Little smallmouth. Not a trophy by any means, guys, but it's a smallmouth in late November. It's good fishing, right? We'll put him back. Hey guys, we got on another one. I think this one is a striper for sure. Doesn't feel like any smallmouth.
Got a lot of lines crossed, George. Do you want me to clear them or you just want to keep fighting it?
No, I'll fight. I'll see if I can keep him over.
Okay, you're gonna be under the other lines.
This one's giving us a hard time, guys, back and forth between the lines. I don't think he's real big, but he's certainly got some shoulders on him.
Right now, I'm guessing like 8 pounds.
Come on. Starting to come up now.
How much line we got out, George?
30.
Nice, should see him soon.
We're using some light line and small hooks, guys. I don't want to fight them too hard.
Yep, light tackle in this clear water.
Oh, he took a look at the boat.
Oh, I see him. Nice fish.
It's a striper. Ain't huge.
Oh, he turned. There we go. I got him. Got him.
Oh. All right, yeah, so we were talking. I mean, this isn't a huge one, but it's certainly a nice striper. Again, late November here in the Sweetwater. We're getting a good mix of smallmouth, some striper. Not too bad for the day, huh? We're gonna let this guy get back in there and we'll see if we can get another.
All right, hooked up. We were trolling around. We tried a new location. Oh, he's running. Oh, he's not stopping. We're at 186 feet out. We tried some new locations. We had the stripers that we were over shut down on us. So we actually slid out to the outer edges of these points. And we relocated a thick school in like 50, 60 feet of water. Oh. And we ran our baits low and slow through there. And we just picked up another one. Got him! Got him! Oh, nice Beltsville striper right there. Absolutely nice fish. Nice tall one. Thick-bellied, these fall fish. Oh. Pop that hook right out. Oh. Beautiful. Not bad at all.
Nope, that's a keeper, all right.
Almost December. Getting some nice stripers still.
That's another fish. That feels like a striper. Well, he's just kind of heavyweight at this point.
Yeah, I'm waiting on a striper run. Sure you don't have a big walleye, George?
It may be. It's not fighting much.
Either doesn't know he's hooked yet, or you got a big walleye. Talk to me on that line. What's it saying?
A little bit of head shakes.
How much line out?
About 18, he's coming up.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
That's all right. Beautiful walleye, George. Beautiful walleye. There we go. Well, there we go, guys. Wasn't a striper or a smallmouth, but we'll take a really nice walleye any day of the week. That's a pretty chunky one. Probably what, close to 2 pound maybe?
Yeah, perfect size.
Yeah, so he's a really good fish. I think we're gonna let him go, but there's a nice walleye.
Great job, George. Certainly a cold morning this morning, but a productive one. 2 nice stripers, a couple smallmouth, and that bonus walleye. Definitely worth getting up and embracing the cold a little bit. Water temp's starting to drop off now, and these fish are gonna be going into winter mode. So one last hurrah, and we did it.
Well, not too shabby, huh, for a late November day. Like I said, we only have a couple more weeks until that hard water season sets in, and we'll be right back out here drilling some holes for some of them smallmouth and stripers again. Well, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll catch you back here soon. But from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
Famous fishing action. Plan your perfect trip today. Tropic Star Lodge, the ultimate in fishing adventures for more than 60 years.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Look at that little bunkie on the beach, little live bunker. You see live bunker coming out of the ocean like that? You know, there's only one thing to do. That was the bite that I was telling you about last week, too. They weren't happy baits anymore. Those bunker were not happy at all. Hope to see more of this holiday week, someplace along the Jersey Shore. I would remind you the December edition of the Fisherman magazine is out this week, and it's just in time for Black Friday with over 70 gift items for the angler on your list. You can come into a place like Charlie's and find a whole heck of a lot more than 70 items: rods, reels, lures, lines, and of course in our special edition, we have electronics and some outside the box items as well. Turn to the table of contents for that New Jersey Delaware Bay edition. You'll see the local story lineup: Tog tips from Rich Bizzari, proper striper handling with Highmar's Stephen Machalaba, a profile on 70 years for the Manasquan Fishing Club by Jenni Ackerman, an intro to rod building from Mike Garone, and on page 12, my full written report from the ASMFC meeting in Dewey Beach, Delaware on the striped bass decision. No changes, of course, for 2026. You can get that full write-up there. My editor's log this month, by the way, also breaks that striper decision down in 650 words or less if you'd like something easily digestible. The January edition editor's log has already written itself. I can tell you why, too. Our thanks to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, the Commissioner Sean LaTourette, and his parting shot to saltwater anglers. Remember 10 years ago when you wanted a beach buggy permit to Island Beach? I think it was New Year's Day. You had to wait in line. Well, Mr. LaTourette decided that whole system needed to be broken. So he went to an online system, and then if that wasn't broken enough, he went to a lottery system this year. And that has been an absolute positive mess. I dare say LaTourette's new lottery is a violation of state code. It's on the screen right now, and I will write it up for the January edition. But New Jersey statutory code says that you got to get your beach driving permit at the gate. And it's only for surfcasters. It's only for fishing. That's the way it's been for 70 years. So thanks again, Mr. LaTourette. Now, I've got a buddy of mine named Marvin John Heemeyer. He tells me he's already modified his buggy with layers of steel and concrete in anticipation of the new year of beach driving at Island Beach State Park. Think Michael Douglas and Falling Down kind of thing, I guess. So from the Model T to the Killdozer at this point, it's a joke. But we'll have more on this in the January edition. In all seriousness, this is the week for family. In addition to the feast, get them out there on the beach or by boat. Make those memories last this week and get all the kids out there. Enjoy the fishing as we have seen this week and so many weeks before that. Jeff Camerado took a drive along the sands of Island Beach State Park last week with son Sal, wife Natasha, each getting their first ever stripers in a quick blitz, throwing deadly dicks. If you're going to throw those deadly dicks and those slim metals, they're perfect for a sand eel imitation. Just swap out the split ring and that ugly little treble hook, but they make great striper lures. Jeff, I hope your registration came through. I hope you got your permit in the lottery. But I'll tell you what, from what I'm hearing, there's 4 or 5 different family members. For some folks, not for Jeff, but I've heard of folks who signed up 5 family vehicles for the lottery in hopes of getting 1 permit approved, and then they got 2 of them. So for those of you at home who have a spouse who's got a winning permit for the Subaru all-wheel drive hatchback, I'll leave you this week with some tips on what you'll need in 2026 as you're outfitting that brand new Subaru surf buggy. Happy Thanksgiving, my friends. I'll see you on the beach. I've been surf fishing for 50 years, but I gotta tell you, I'm no expert on driving the beach. I've been with a bunch of people over the years, the late Fred Galifaro out in Long Island, some friends at the Jersey Shore. But if you're thinking about getting into beach driving, don't think that it's kind of something that you gotta worry about. As long as you take the time and prepare for what you need to drive on the beach, you'll be good to go. First and foremost, you're gonna wanna air down. You want a 4-wheel drive, obviously. So I've got a 4-wheel drive GMC. It's perfect for most of the conditions here at the Jersey Shore. But the first thing you wanna do is you're gonna wanna air down. With the soft sand, we typically take them down to 15 PSI. These trailheads, for example, pretty cool little unit because I got 4 of them in the bag. Before I start for the day, I'm gonna put these trailheads on. They can be set, and you can set them at home. When you first get these deflators, whether they're trailheads or whatever brand you get, you can actually set them for the PSI you want. So I set them for 15 PSI, put them on. When I'm getting ready to come up on the beach, just as I'm putting my waders on, they'll go down to 15. I take them off. Then you want to put yourself into 4-wheel drive, obviously. So very important, you want a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Also, you want all your permits. I have seen up and down the Jersey Shore and out on Long Island as well, people driving on the beach that don't know what they're doing. They don't have their permits, and they're the ones that are stuck. If you're in Brigantine, you want to get the Beached Cars of Brigantine calendar from Andy at Riptide Bait and Tackle, because that is fantastic. He's got 12 months, 1 a month of some Yahoo who doesn't have what they need. So you want your permit for your town, for wherever you are. I happen to be at the northernmost stretch of New Jersey where you can't get beach buggy access any longer. I see some trails going down into the forbidden zone, really bad, because that restricts us all in the future should somebody want to shut us down. So what else do you need? Every town, every municipality might be a little bit different, but before I go driving on the beach, I've got my kit ready to go. One thing you won't find in here, you might want to bring a bucket, make sure the bucket is in the back. Some towns along our stretch do require a bucket. I won't go into the details why, but you'll need it. You want a shovel. I've got a collapsible shovel. That's going to be needed in my kit. I've got a couple of pieces of wood. You could find yourself in some soft sand along the way where you're going to need to wedge this and get yourself out. That's also what you need from the shovel. I've got a hydraulic lift in here. So the jack is in here. There are going to be times where you might need the hydraulic jack. That is in here. Also in here, a flashlight. I've got my headlamp. I've got flashlights throughout the truck anyway. Fire extinguisher, another important thing. You never know what's going to happen out here. A fire extinguisher is an important thing to have. And again, like I said, in your particular municipality, you might have certain requirements. I've got a first aid kit. That is in this bucket. I've got another first aid kit under the back seat of my truck. And of course, you want something that's going to get you out of here. Where I am in my particular town, they want you to have chain. Now I've got some heavy duty strap that's also in the truck that if I were to have to pull somebody out or needed somebody to pull me on out of a jam, I've got different tire straps. Here in my municipality, they want chains. I've also got my corkers in there, but I don't have to show you those either. Most important thing, it's really, if you're following along with tracks, you don't want to be driving fast. If you see the tire tracks, follow those treads. They're good to follow along with. If you see certain areas that are real soft sand, you want to take precaution there. But as long as you're air down, you're in four-wheel drive, you should be good to get through that as well. It can be daunting to think about getting into beach driving. It certainly was for me. I was preferring to have somebody else do the driving. But it is a beautiful thing to be able to do, get that beach permit, be able to drive up on the beach, set up in your favorite spot at dawn, and it gives you access to so many different beaches. So just make sure you pay attention to the rules, pay attention to all the things you need, your permits, and make sure you put that kit together and have it ready to go. When I'm done for the season, this will go on a shelf, all ready to go for the following year. Beach driving, it's not a necessity, but I'll tell you what, it can be a real advantage when you're chasing some of these fish down the beach. Oh, one last tip too, is finding a four-wheel drive that still has a cigarette lighter. Most people don't realize what a cigarette lighter is for anymore, but it's for charging up my inflator. So these are nice to have. This is one I've had for a long time, but this will run right off of my truck, and at least it gets me basically for 4 tires to go up from 15 PSI to 25 just to feel comfortable driving down the road. It's 20 minutes, but let's spend the next 20 minutes doing that.